Madam Chair, we're ready to begin the meeting.
All right, friends, welcome. All right, we've got just about a full house here. We're just missing one person today, so good to see you all again. All right, so the mission of the Meridian Arts Commission is to develop, enhance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. First, we'll do roll call. Lizzie Taylor. Here. Natalie Schofield. Here. Okay. Brecken. Here. Crystal. Patrick. Bobby. And that's not here. Basile.
And just a reminder to all commissioners that you do need to speak in the microphone so that the public and legal can hear you on the other side of Zoom.
Thank you.
Testing.
Okay, before we begin, I want to officially welcome Dia to the Meridian Arts Commission. She's been on the job for a month now. Awesome. Doing a great job already. So I'm very happy to have you here. Do you want to introduce yourself, Dia?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Dia Bassett. I'm originally from San Diego, California, and I'm an artist as well. And so I have a background in arts administration, as well as visual and performing arts. Is that good?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We're happy to have you here. And she was at our gallery reception the other day doing interviews and taking videos with our artists. So you can tell already it's going to be a great addition to what we have. So glad to be working with you. Okay, first we are looking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move we adopt the agenda.
A second. Commissioner Taylor moves, Commissioner Schofield seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the minutes from our June 8th meeting.
Madam Chair, second.
All right. Commissioner O'Leary moves, Commissioner Taylor seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, one more. Looking for a motion to approve the monthly financial statement. Any questions first before we approve that? Okay. Take a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the monthly financial statement as written.
Madam Chair, I second.
All right, Commissioner Schofield moves, Commissioner Taylor seconds. All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. New business, and this one is for Dia, her first presentation. The Initial Point Gallery 2024 schedule.
Great, I can see myself.
Cassie, is there a way to pull this up on our screens? Nope. Oh, wait, there we go. We got it. So if you tap presentation on your screen, it's a touch screen, so I think you have to touch it rather than use your mouse. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to present our recommended 2024 Initial Point Gallery schedule. This has been reviewed by the Initial Point Gallery Subcommittee and also recommended for December 2023 into January 2024. An exhibition with Capitol Contemporary Gallery has been secured. The image before you is a sampling of their regular exhibiting artists.
Including, is that Cassandra also? Are you part of that?
Madam Chair, yes, that is the gallery that I regularly show my own artwork at.
Awesome. Will you be included in this show then?
Yes, I think this is probably the one and only time that I would show my own work in Initial Point Gallery.
Cool. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. Proceed.
And if there aren't any questions, I'll continue moving through this slideshow, but please feel free to ask any questions as we move along. February 2024 to March 2024 is a collaboration between Bosco, which is Boise Open Studios Collective, and Valley, Idaho. This is another sampling of from their application. And Valley, Idaho is confirmed to perform during the reception, right?
Yes,
Okay.
we do need to do a separate agreement with them, which Emily will work on. But this will kind of be an interesting reception because the show pairs the artists with dancers, and they actually, Commissioner Byrd might be able to speak more on it because she's one of the artists. And when we did the scoring, she had to recuse herself from the scoring because she would be one of the artists showing in that. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, so we did this show last year. My piece is actually the one on the far right. But it was really fun. We just did it in the Mode Lounge downtown, which is a nice venue, but it wasn't ideal. So this is going to be a million times better probably for the work. And I'm excited that the performance can happen. But yeah, so we just they let Bosco come in and watch their rehearsals and take some photos. And then we worked on some pieces over the next couple months based on our references and our sketches from that. So it was really fun.
Very cool.
Thank you, Commissioner Byrd. In April 2024, there's a group show of landscape artists. And originally, it was recommended to include the artist Joanne Leon, who, after communicating with her, she is not available to exhibit with us in 2024. So it is recommended that we move her application to 2025 for that reason. And it is recommended to offer the artist Bailey Miller half of the gallery space. He did apply for half of the gallery space, so that would work out. And some of you may know that there were not as many three-dimensional artists who applied in this round. So after recommendations from commissioners such as Lizzie Taylor, we reached out to several three-dimensional artists and confirmed Rick Jenkins for this exhibition.
And Madam Chair and Commissioners, if you don't mind if I just add something about Joanne, she showed last year and she's also showing in 2 months. So I did talk to her and she's totally fine with waiting until 2025.
She has a busy exhibition schedule.
He has another solo show that month.
And then May 2024, it's scheduled to work with West Ada School District. And the images shown are from the May 2023 exhibition here at Initial Point Gallery. For the 2024 schedule, there will be several months that are combined. And June, July would be 2 of those months. And we have an exhibition planned with Pete Grady, who's the photographer, and Tyler Crabb, the painter, and Kayla Morgan, who's a ceramicist. You'll notice asterisks by some of the three-dimensional artists. there is some flexibility to move them to different months. But Kayla Morgan, the image shown is of her work on your far right. And then for August and September in 2024, there's a group show planned for with the interim title Cross Sections. And the painter Jan Freeman Long, her work is shown on the far left. And the ceramicist Stephen Fisher in the middle, with on the far right is Martha Channer, the painter. And most of you will probably recognize images throughout the slideshow from the application process. And in October, it's recommended to exhibit the group of painters, Rosellen Hong, Gary McCall, Mary Gardner, with the ceramicist Jill Lawley. And then in November 2024, we have Leslie J. Bosch, Johan Omar Rodriguez, and Michelle Grace. And then the year would close out in December 2020, actually carrying over to, sorry, that's January 2025, not 2024. And Treasure Valley Artist Alliance would be exhibiting with their group under Midnight Metaphor, which was their proposed title. Are there any questions?
Yeah, that's great. Lizzie. you have a question?
Just a quick question. My memory sometimes serves me, sometimes it doesn't. We do request that all commissioners host at least one initial point gallery opening reception. So think about what you might feel closest to or that you like the most, and let's try to get those signups done as soon as possible, not putting any extra work on YouTube, but let's kind of get them buttoned up. Because there's always changes, so just whenever that comes out, let us know. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Dia. Great job.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so it looks like we are looking for a motion to recommend our 2024 gallery schedule as it has been presented today. Any questions or concerns about it? And we're looking for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we that we go ahead and approve, thank you, the gallery for next year.
Madam Chair, I second.
Great. All right, Commissioner Paulson moves, Commissioner Taylor seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, nice job. The next item, review and discuss. So this is our next installment of our MAC strategic plan, section 4, public engagement. So this one's a little bit longer, but I think we'll get through it pretty quickly. So we've got 2 different objectives and each one has a couple of strategies. And this is, our goal is to grow the appreciation of participation in the arts within our Meridian resident population. So our first objective, cultivate the base of arts support and patrons in the community. And our first strategy for that is to develop a cohesive message about MAC and the value of arts to Meridian. So our first action item, with consultant help, define a branding, messaging, and marketing plan. So I don't know that we have the funding to work with a consultant. Are there opportunities to work with the public affairs department in the city on this? Is that something they could help us out with? Or something that we need?
Madam Chair, communications department would be the
Communications.
city, yeah,
Gotcha,
communications.
yeah.
And I I do work with our marketing coordinator and communications pretty regularly, but I'll leave it up to the commission if you think that there's other marketing needs that the commission needs. I think that might be something that's been improved in more recent years. So
Thank you. Does anyone have any thoughts about, working with our communications department or looking into hiring a consultant for branding, messaging, and marketing plan? Sounds like we kind of do some of that already, but more informally. Just continuing to work with the communications department sounds like is what we want to do. Our second action item, create marketing materials such as functional, reusable, and or recyclable gifts to hand out to new residents and at events. I am using this nifty little Parks and Recreation pen that I got from somewhere. Do we need marketing materials like that, or stickers, or things to hand out that could help share our brand and our message?
I think there are plenty of things out there that are just, pardon the use of the term, but they are just junk.
Okay. Do people still like stickers? Is that a thing? Bobby would like. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah. So Cassie, we have this Meridian Art and Public Spaces logo that I know we're not really allowed to use right now. Do we make stickers out of that? That's for public art specifically, but maybe we could use the Meridian Arts Commission logo and make a sticker out of it. Or something.
Madam Chair, the Arts Commission logo could be made into a sticker. The Meridian Art and Public Spaces, going back to the communications, working with communications, we did, where that had landed was we have lots of logos out there for the Arts Commission and Historic Preservation Commission and MIAC and other things. And the city really wants to sort of keep, really carefully consider any additional logos. So in order to use that, we have to develop a plan for how that will be used, where that will be used. Would it only come from the Meridian, things that were funded by the Meridian Art and Public Spaces funds, or I mean, maybe some of our murals that were not funded by that might have that logo. So that's kind of a longer conversation before we can use that logo on anything, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Longer term, I hope that we can. Yeah, that's something, if the commission would like to spend some of the budget on some of those things, just have to identify which part of the budget and how much and what kind of items that you'd like. So it is a possibility.
What do you guys think about either using our MAC logo or designing some other kind of fun, not a logo, but kind of a fun image for the Arts Commission that we could turn into like a sticker? We could give those out at Art Week or just have them around concerts on Broadway. Exactly.
Yeah, I was just thinking, although I don't know, don't know how we do it, but creating something for the gallery and each season. And the only thing I could think of is, like what do they call them? Icebox magnet or your refrigerator magnet, that it's on there that they could see and reference.
Yeah.
Doing something like that. And maybe the same thing for concerts on Broadway. That would be available.
And Madam Chair and Commissioners, I totally forgot about the stickers that were made for the murals at Tully Skate Park. I do have a sticker for each of you. Dia just went up to grab them for me. And she also was, had an idea just now of like t-shirts potentially for Art Week as something. Lead time on that for Art Week might need to happen like now.
It's not actually for the public, but I do think it would be kind of nice to have like a Meridian Arts Commission t-shirt, like if you are going to be volunteering at Art Week or concerts on Broadway or whatever, just, I mean, I know we have our little badges, but it's like very identified. Oh, you in the navy blue with the Meridian all over your shirt might be helpful.
Years ago, we did, we did have t-shirts for Art Week. I don't remember, it might have been 2018, 2019. It was like my first year or two on the commission. So we have had those in the past, and I think people really did have it. So Cassie, is that something we would have to, like, it's not on our agenda, so we can't approve it today, but something we could approve
It's,
later?
if that's the direction, I imagine it's low budget enough that I could look into that and see if that fits. Is there a commissioner that might be willing to look into the t-shirts and pricing that wants to take that on? And then they can send the information to me.
I'm happy to do that. There's also this nice little library down the street named Unbound, and they have laser engravers, so we could get some things laser engraved, like keychains or other little things. So that might be an inexpensive way to custom brand some items.
Cool. So it sounds like we've got some ideas.
Madam Chair, a question on like the quantity of these items, like, is it for just volunteers? Is it like shirts, stickers you could order by the hundreds, but shirts, who gets them? Who do we give them out to? Who, that might help.
Right.
Lucille.
So I think for t-shirts for Art Week in the past, I think it was like everyone on the arts, well, I didn't get one. I wasn't volunteering though. So I think it was like anyone who volunteered. And then maybe, you know, everyone on the, hopefully everyone will be volunteering, but regardless, everyone on the commission. And then it would be limited to, I don't know, 20, 20 probably. You have some community members who volunteer. I don't know, what do you guys think about just those other kind of giveaway items, whether it's a sticker, prizes, prizes, engraved stuff?
I think that it's a good idea. And like t-shirts, maybe if it's a promotional thing you're trying to do, like, I don't know, on concerts on Broadway or something along that line is when you'd pull out like the t-shirt or something. But like stickers during Art Week, I think that's a great idea. Kids love them. I think even adults like them, especially for water bottles. But that seems to be pretty popular. I think inexpensive items are like that. And then the stuff that might be a little bit more for promotional.
Hello? Oh. Still learning this thing. I wanted to say that I think for an installation piece, there was an artist who asked people to take these stickers and put them up anywhere in the room. And what if there was a place where people could adhere their stickers during Art Week?
That could be fun.
That's in a public space,
Yeah,
like a designated place you can put your sticker here.
I like that idea. So Crystal and Patrick, you guys are kind of on the Art Week committee. So I talk with my hands a lot, sorry. You guys are on the Art Week committee. Do you guys want to kind of brainstorm some of that stuff and then come back with an idea or a budget or kind of thing?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. I don't know if we have enough time. Maybe it's kind of a short enough lead time because Art Week is 2 months away, basically. So we'd want to make sure we have something ready for our next meeting. Okay, so it sounds like there's some interest in kind of keeping that as something that we would do. So we can continue to have those discussions. Action item C, update Mac's web and social media presence. We do a great job of that, or Cassie does a great job of that, and Dia now. Regularly evaluate effectiveness of marketing approaches. So I think that kind of goes along with A, where kind of thinking about how we're doing and what kind of marketing we could do. Any questions about that first strategy and action items? Okay. Our second strategy, promote MAC programs and public artworks to the community. So our first action item, make presentations to civic organizations regularly. We don't do that currently. Is there interest in doing that? And that would be like organizations come to us and tell us about what they're doing. That would be us going to other organizations and saying, here's what MAC is up to.
Well, not MAC on a whole, but Lizzie does go to the senior center and talks
Oh,
about the
that's true.
gallery.
That's true.
But Lizzie hasn't done that for a while. Lizzie will be getting back into that when Lizzie has a car to drive and doesn't have to depend on others for everything. So probably starting in August or September. The Meridian Senior Center is very, very receptive. Probably 6 months ago, we bought a table for $35. I sat there, froze my butt off. 3 hours, but talked to probably 100 people about Initial Point Gallery. And most of you have heard this story, but that was the time that this lady came up to me and she said, I've never been to a gallery in my life. And I said, oh, why is that? And she said, well, that's where they have dirty pictures. So
Well,
let's just say that our community could use a little bit of education. So I'll be getting back into doing that as soon as I can.
Thanks, Lizzie. That's kind of entertaining to think about.
So I had a question.
Sure.
With the whole promotion and bridging the arts for community. So this summer I've been teaching plein air and we decided to serve the community and make it for free. And like I did one this morning, it was very popular. Is there an option of offering like a monthly or bi-monthly where, hey, we're going to like the senior center or we're going to, and we're bridging that, giving, like I did watercolor and majority of people hadn't done watercolor since they were kids,
Mhm.
you know? So is there a way of where we can like put feet on the ground and actually do something like that?
That's a good question. That's not something that we've discussed. What do you all think? I mean, I think it would be dependent on sort of commissioner, on a volunteer basis. If you needed supplies, we would talk about where that would fit in the budget. We have at the availability of whoever go and do that.
As I know, I would be willing to do that. It's what I already do naturally. So, but I just thought just putting it out there and that way it would be a good way of people getting to know the commission and getting to know art and bridging that gap.
One, oh,
Go ahead.
one quick thought on that. I have a list of senior places. Now, the Meridian Senior Center is not a residence. You don't live there. You belong to it and you go and you eat food and dance and play bingo and all that sort of stuff. But my experience has been that unless as a caller on the telephone, you appear to be interested in buying into one of these communities, they don't necessarily return your calls. Okay, and I'm persistent, as you probably know, but even I sometimes get refused. All right. If maybe on social media, in which I am not a participant at all, it could be made apparent to the community or known to the community that, hey, if you have a group of people or you are a group or you want to put together a group, let us know and maybe we can help you with your arts or crafts or whatever, but try to make those calls. Not that I don't have the time, but it is really frustrating because unless you want to buy or rent, they're not interested in talking to you. And the Arts Commission, oh my goodness, I mean, that's like way out there. So just a thought.
Well, can I add to that? So what we did for the summer is it was through Parks and Rec. And so during the summer, you could do it in local places. So we did one outside of City Hall. We're doing one at Sensi in a couple of weeks. So during the summer, you wouldn't have to worry about a location. And then, I mean, just partnering with the community, and they're more willing to partner, especially if it's like a senior living place or whatever, if you're offering it for free, than if you're charging. So.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think there's certainly an opportunity for that. Maybe that's, again, something that Events and Outreach Committee could discuss. You guys want to kind of put together a budget for the year of, what you might need for supplies and brainstorm some groups to work with and just outreach.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, for A, we're talking about making presentations to civic organizations, but maybe it's a little bit more than that. It's sort of engaging groups regularly. So B, designate a MAC representative to attend concerts and events. I think we're hoping that everyone on the commission could attend, based on their availability. So I don't know that we need one representative. And I think, as Cassie has made clear, you can, if you do attend these, like the concerts on Broadway or the Huckleberry Star, any of these that are sort of local, that you can count it toward your volunteer time, and if you feel comfortable, wear your Arts Commission badge and be an official representative there.
And if there's t-shirts, they can wear their t-shirt.
Exactly, wear your t-shirt. Okay. C, use existing MAC programs such as Art Week to provide arts information by having a booth and using an MC for announcements. I think we do that already. D, maintain good relationships with local media by welcoming and inviting them to meetings and programs. So I know we do that, and I know we engage sort of these social media folks, My Meridian, and some of those other folks who do that kind of regular promotional stuff. E, work with city communications managers to issue press releases about MAC activities and update online information outlets. So I assume we do that. Yep.
Definitely happening. Yep.
Cool. All right. F, create a 4-credit social media internship opportunity to gain assistance in promoting MAC activities via social media. So that's, a lot of what Dia does for us. She gets paid, actually, so it's not just a college credit. Last year, was it a college credit kind of thing, or did we pay them?
Last year it was called an internship, but it was a paid internship.
Okay.
The level of work that the position is not really intern level work. So we took off the intern title and requirement for it to be a college related.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the goal was just to get some help, and we're getting some help, at least, for part of the year, which is great. G, partner with other organizations to cross-promote arts events and opportunities. Is this something that you do, Cassie, or that we do with the communications?
One of the things, partly because we're sponsoring some of their events, the Treasure Valley Children's Theater and Huckleberry Star Theater include some of our stuff in their programs. If there's other ways that we could be doing that, I think that's the only way that I know.
I was thinking, I went to the Bree Kleiner concert in the park on Friday, which is put on by Parks and Rec and Bree Living Place. But they had a booth. Well, the credit union that sponsors had a booth, and then I think Meridian had a booth with kettle corn, but maybe we just have on their table like a calendar of events of like Art Week coming up, or I think they only have 3 or 4 more shows this year. But then ours will lead right into concerts on Broadway. So if we even just had like or I won't be at the next one, but I will be at the next one. I mean, even if it's just going around and handing out like, hey, you're here for some free live music. Why don't you come to City Hall in like 3 weeks? Because we're going to have, also, but also because that's Parks and Rec, which is us too. So maybe they'd be okay with us jumping on their event.
Yes, I think because it's also a city event, the sponsors at those places, they do pay to be there. That's part of their, but given that we're part of the city, I think, yes, it'd be easy to do marketing and promotion there. And I think I'll ask Renee when she announces the concert, particularly on the last two, like to mention concerts on Broadway happening after that.
That's a great idea. Thanks. I like that idea of having a calendar of events and we can have stickers. Okay. H, encourage digital engagement with public artworks. I don't know really what this means. So we do have our online sort of tour of our public art. I think it needs some updating, right? Conversion.
I don't know if you've looked at it recently. It's actually pretty well up to date.
Oh, it is. Oh, good. I will go check that out. I am behind the times. Okay. So that was objective A, which was cultivating the base of art support in the community. So objective B, pursue public input into MAX programs and goals. So our first strategy under that is provide opportunity for attendees and public to give input at MAC programs. So the first action, provide an easy and quick evaluation tool at appropriate events to gather audience feedback. I don't think that's something that we do. Is it something that we want to do?
Madam Chair, the one example would be the Art Week survey that went out after Art Week.
Okay. Cool. Is that something that we could replicate for concerts on Broadway?
Sure.
Okay. That's easy.
Maybe a commissioner could help with what questions you want to ask them.
Okay. B is set up a MAC info booth at appropriate events with a tool to gather public input. I assume that would be like an iPad or something. I don't know what events those would, I guess, are events. It seems like having a survey is enough. I don't know that we necessarily need a booth. So number 2, provide remote opportunities for the community to give input into MAC programs. And remember, this strategic plan was written before COVID. So the idea of like doing things online and remotely was like, so A, work with city information technology to create online public input opportunity. I will say one thing that we talked about was getting public input for some of our public art projects. So we were going to do it for the Discovery Park. It didn't work out in terms of our schedule, but I think for some of our larger pieces, we do want to work on strategies for gathering public input that way. So,
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
and I don't know whether you guys have talked about this before or not, you just made me think of with the public art pieces, would it be possible to, if we did like a QR code
Mhm.
on those, that people could walk up, click on, and then fill out or answer questions?
Sure. Yeah. So in terms of public input, what we were thinking about was, for example, for Discovery Park, we've got 3 separate locations where we're going to have pieces. And each of the artists submitted multiple options for us to choose from. And so the Public Art Committee selected those, or maybe we did as a group, but as a full commission, I guess we did that in our last meeting. Often it happens in our Public Art Subcommittee. But we talked about, having some poster boards up at Discovery Park and maybe here at the office, like outside or something, or just in the lobby, where folks could come in and look at the different options and vote for which one they wanted. For some pieces, it'd be possible to do that online. For this situation, it was too difficult. The descriptions of the pieces and the different options would have been pages and pages and pages online. So we thought about, a QR code could work. Could be cool to have a QR code like on our finished pieces that people could get more information about. So that's kind of something to look into. I don't know what it takes to develop the QR code, but It could be in-person voting where you're just, writing on a slip of paper and dropping it in, or, some kind of in-person voting. Gotta write down that QR.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I can make a QR code in about 5 seconds for any website.
I figured it was probably that easy.
Patrick, were you talking more of like on the public art, a QR code that would then like redirect to the city website with the artist information and inspiration, that type of thing?
Yeah, I was just, I mean, thinking of, if every project we did had a QR code on it, then it would take them to the website and say, your comment on this piece of art, or we could have a couple of questions, just to get, I think it would be something, who's actually seeing this and create an interaction.
Yeah.
And then also where there's other public art.
Right. I like that idea. I'm a little bit concerned about the potential for mischief when you're inviting the public to leave a comment about something. I mean, it could be very useful, but it could also be, it would have to be moderated. Yeah. But I do like that idea of making that, at least making information available. And then if we wanted to have a comment kind of thing, we could discuss that. So good idea. The second action under that strategy, promote link to online public input opportunities at MAC events and programs. So if we had input opportunities, we would certainly do that. Okay, strategy number 3, welcome and invite members of the public to participate in MAC meetings and programs. So the first action, invite community members to participate in the selection of public artworks, like we were just discussing. Promote MAC meeting schedule to the public. So that's something we don't do, and obviously no one ever comes to our meetings. Yeah, they're always open to the public. We don't promote them. Is that something that folks want to do? Lizzie's saying no. People aren't as interested as they are in city council meetings. So. And then invite community members to speak or present to MAC. So we do have that, like I mentioned, there are folks who come and tell us what they're doing. Cassie, do you do much outreach in terms of inviting people to come talk to us, or do they mostly reach out to you?
They mostly reach out to me. It would be great if there's groups or anything that wants to come and you want to, it's up to the chair's discretion as to what to put on the agenda. So anyone that wants to reach out could reach out to come to talk at any time.
What do you think about putting something on social media, inviting folks to reach out, and, it would be official groups. It wouldn't just necessarily be individuals, but, if a group is doing something related to the arts and they want to come tell us about it.
Yeah, that's doable. I'm just thinking through some of the, maybe it would, I just have to think through what that would look like, what the ask would look like. Maybe it would say something like, are you an arts organization? Would you like to present your activities to the Arts Commission? Maybe it's as simple as that.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I'm thinking even like art teachers who are doing sort of interesting activities with their students, more informal groups like the stuff that Crystal does, if there are other folks who do that kind of stuff, they've got something that they're, wouldn't be asking for money. It's just telling us what they're doing and sort of engaging us in what's going on.
Madam Chair, would their activities need to be taking place in the city of Meridian?
I think so. Yeah, preferably. If they're a Meridian group and it's taking place somewhere in the valley, I think that would be okay also. That's a good point. So I know I'm blanking on the name of the school, the Treasure Valley, is it the Idaho Fine Arts Academy? I think they're technically in Eagle.
I think they moved to Meridian though.
They did?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so we are at the end of our public engagement section. Any final thoughts, comments, questions for the group? Okay, good discussion, and thanks, everyone. Our next item is a recap of our Water Metrics public art installation at our 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub and artist meet and greet. So Cassie, were you going to share that?
I didn't have anything formal, but
Okay.
it's, yeah, so I don't know if the commissioners that attended wanted to give any thoughts or anything, but overall, the installation day went really smoothly. The installers did a great job. The artist was great, and it's pretty exciting to see that in place.
Awesome. Yeah, any thoughts from folks who were there?
It's very beautiful. You should all go see it. It has like little tiny bits to find, and it was like the most beautiful I Spy I've ever seen.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is Bobby. I really enjoyed it. Oh my gosh, I agree with Brecken and everyone else. It's an amazing piece of work, and I had to go back and see it again on my own, and it was really nice.
Right. It's always nice to have a new piece of artwork. So technically it's two, you're right.
Cassandra did make a little social media reel of that day.
Oh, cool.
And I also edited some other video that I took, which will also be on social media in the future at some point. And I also took a bike ride along the pathway from Pine Street to the Trail Hub. And so I have that on video, and we'll be editing it, and that can go into other social media posts as well.
That's great. Thanks, Dia. Our next staff report. So Cassie, I'll hand that over to you.
So this is, I mostly have public art updates, but I have a couple other things too. Just wanted to give an update on the gallery guide. Initial Point Gallery will be included in the guide. Launch date for that's in September. There's a list on your screen of the other galleries and organizations that are participating in that. And given that list, I think it's really great to have Initial Point Gallery as part of that guide. And just so that's kind of like a long skinny format. It's basically the size of an 8.5 by 11 folded in half, and it'll be a booklet. There'll be some advertising in there, mostly from arts related organizations and things. And then there's free listings of people who didn't pay to be part of the guide, but it's it's kind of funny because I talked about doing this in a previous position with the Capitol Contemporary Gallery, but it's the Idaho Art Gallery that really started this and sort of brought it up. And it's been kind of an ongoing collaborative project with like a lot of these organizations to get this going, to sort of showcase like what are some of the galleries in Meridian. So I'm excited to see this. And yeah, the launch date will be in September. So I think we should have it probably by the community art party during Art Week. So I told Nellie at the Idaho Art Gallery she could have a booth there to kind of showcase that. The performing arts proposals, so update on those. Treasure Valley Children's Theater performed the Grunch last month, and Huckleberry Star Theater performed their 3 preview performances at movie night. There's the image of the movie night one, and one at Main Street Market and the Village. And they have their final performance of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat next week. I have a link there if you wanted to purchase tickets. It's just on their main website, the Huckleberry Star. So both organizations have fulfilled their performance obligations for funding. So they just have to do some final closeout paperwork, writing like a final report and filling out a spreadsheet about their performances to close out those projects. So good news on that front. Here's an image of the Trailhead piece if you hadn't seen it, and people that were there for the sort of artist meet and greet. The artist is the woman sort of in the front in the jeans, Eileen, and one of the pieces to the side. They are truly beautiful pieces. And she, I wasn't sure if she'd be able to come back when we do like a final ribbon cutting for the site, but she is planning on attending, depending on schedule. So I think she'll be out again when we do a more formal dedication.
She's in Reno, right?
Yeah, so
Cool.
she's not
Not super
quite
far.
so far away.
Yeah.
Some other kind of updates for the site. The reason we're not doing like a whole dedication right now is because the Trail Hub is still has quite a few other elements. Planning on bike racks and a bike repair station. And the area over by the basalt benches is kind of sandy rather than a more solid material. So I think they're going to try to get a different material in there. Segment D of the pathway, which is to the wastewater treatment facility, is right across the road. And there's a segment that's been a long time in the planning. And internally that has been called the Golden Spike because it will link two very long sections of pathway together for a really long continuous section of pathway, which is pretty exciting. And signage that says something that says 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub. And kind of exciting on the signage. I think depending on what that looks like, we've kind of talked about seeing if Eileen could be subcontracted to do some background work on the signage to match her work. So she still has some materials and hoping that that will work out with the signage company and her to kind of get those to work together and have those things kind of go together. And this is really exciting. The bike rack, we're looking at this piece. It's by Ken McCall, who's one of our public art artists on the roster. So probably 2 bikes would fit on either side, and putting 2 of these out there, and they work really well with the artwork that's out there too. They don't look traditionally like a bike rack, but you can see sort of on the one image, there would be like a little bike sign sort of in the corner to signify that. So other projects ongoing, the agreement's still being reviewed by Valley Regional Transit for the transit shelters. So hopefully we'll have more news on that next month. Traffic boxes, cleaning and condition report, we've subcontracted that work. I haven't scheduled that quite yet, but I'm planning on doing that, and recommended locations as of now, kind of depending on what that condition report gives back to us. Those are the pieces that were approved last month by council. So Discovery Park, and just a side note, the Public Art Committee wasn't meeting this month, but that is not to say that public art things are not happening. Staff is working very hard, and this isn't just me, this is other people in parks, to make these happen along with the construction in the park. So the recommended proposals from the Arts Commission meeting last month I gave a presentation to City Council with very positive support. And I wanted to share a couple of the quotes. They did have some questions about things like just making sure the budget was available. Yes, we're not spending money that we don't have in the MAPS fund. They had a question about using local artists, which the Public Art Committee had kind of gone the direction of using artists that we don't already have work from. There was a good thought about getting shade over the benches because it might be hot, which we'll try to do some proactive landscaping for that. And they kind of wanted to know what some of the other pieces, what the other proposals were look like, and just questions about dimensions. But overall, it was really positive. They liked the interactive nature of the projects and the functional nature of the benches. The softball field one was called Ingenious by one of the council members. And one of the council members thought they were looking at like one project versus all 3. And when they found out it was actually all 3, and said that was an easier decision and said, go forth and conquer, quote unquote. And I want to share the quote from the mayor, and this is in the minutes, you can see them. He said, I think these were outstanding. I think they were great choices for a way to make art interesting, fun, engaging, and unique in that regard. So kudos to the Arts Commission for their work, the selection, and hopefully the moving forward. So all good news. Yay. Agreements have been negotiated with all the artists. 2 have already been executed. 1 will be executed next week. We've already done first payments to the bench artist guy. Purchase orders are in place. There were some tweaks on a couple of things. So just like some footing to make the footing work in the site, and the whole ball game sculpture, there was some minor design tweaks. The ones that they had submitted were actually baseball players instead of softball players. So they updated that to be softball players, and one female and one male. So some a little bit more representation, and some of all the changes I think are really good changes. One of the footing changes was like doing concrete footing all around those sculptures, so they're not in the grassy area with water potentially hitting them. The water out at Discovery Park will stain things, so making that concrete around them so that the water is all directed away. So lots of things happening. Oh, we even have the stamped engineering plans for them already in place. And Parks is taking care of all the concrete and footing work, since that's kind of part of the construction too, which I think is a huge relief to the artists. So all good things moving forward. And one other thing out there for potential, was walking around downtown in the community art center, or not art center, sorry, that'd be great. The community center that the city Parks and Rec owns. That's going to be torn down eventually. So this wouldn't be a permanent project, but it's kind of right there downtown. It's right next to Unbound. Was looking at the wall in between Unbound and the community center. There's some picnic tables there. And nobody would really care if art went on that wall. We wouldn't, the city already owns it. We wouldn't have to get other approvals. It's kind of temporary. Given the temporary nature, couldn't really pay artists for that, but it would probably be appropriate for a class to do that. So I did talk to Bobby. I don't know if you have any updates about maybe talking to Mariana, who's the teacher that was awarded the Tammy DeViertz Awards in the Arts. No updates currently.
No updates, but it's on my schedule to talk to her about it.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So it's something that could happen during Art Week, sort of community project building. And we can use MAC funds for supplies and materials. So pause for a moment to see your input if that sounds like a good use of budget funds. And the design if it's a class, I would have no, I would imagine there would not be anything inappropriate and the design would be fine, but we just have to give a okay on that.
Cassandra, I meant to go back and just do some measurements on the wall. Just because when I visited the wall, it's actually a really good size wall. And it would, by going in and just sizing it up, get some actual measurements, that's my next step. So I could share that with Mariana and whoever's going to be involved so they know what spaces are available.
And Commissioner Gatan, you might have a better idea on material costs, what that potentially might be. Do you help think through what that cost might be? But does that seem like a good use of the Arts Commission funds?
Yes.
I see heads nodding yes. Okay. And that's it. Stand for any questions?
Any questions for Cassie?
Thank you so much for being so organized, and we are like moving so fast compared to years past. So thank you.
I agree. Thank you for all of your hard work, as always. Okay. Moving on, initial point gallery. Lizzie, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The current exhibit is called Back from Sequester Out and About. If you haven't seen it, I do urge that you do so fairly soon because it's coming down fairly soon. The artists are, pardon me, Gina Fong, Susan Kluckstall, Lauren Johnston, Dennis Hazlett, Edie Martin. The opening reception was July 11th. Host was Jessica. How many people attended, Jessica?
15 total, including the artists and their partners, and it was not a well-attended opening, unfortunately.
Well,
So,
life happens and it
Yeah.
was hot and, when we ask for how many attended, it's not that we're being judged on anything. It's
Mhm.
just how many
Yep.
were there.
Well,
Okay.
we'd like to have folks come in and check out the art. So we do get folks who come in during the week to check out the gallery. So
Sure.
it's not like that's the full extent of people who see. We did talk about the fact that July is difficult. It's just the middle of summer, everyone's busy and things. So I saw for our schedule next year, we've got June and July combined. So I think that's a great idea. It'll help give folks a little bit more time to see the art, and then there's not as much pressure to bring people in for a reception that, may not be well attended. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Peters. The next exhibit is Scenes of Meridian. It's the Plein Air Painters of Idaho, and the 3D artist is Stephanie Inman. The opening reception is August 1st, and the host will be Ms. Breckenbird. Anyway, that's kind of it from Initial Point Gallery, but on a more, well, I'm going to tag it on anyway. I'm very pleased to tell you that Vasil will be my next artist at the Meridian Co-op, and his show will be up for 6 weeks. It's starting on Monday, the 17th of July. Thank you very much for jumping in. Very much appreciated.
Cool. Congratulations, Vasil. Looking forward to seeing your work.
Thank you.
Are you creating new work for it, or is it stuff that you've had that you want to show?
New work on top of 4 layers of old work. A lot of texture.
Awesome. Great, thank you,
Commissioner
Vasil.
Taylor, because I'm new here, what is the Meridian Co-op?
Meridian Co-op is literally the Meridian branch of the Boise Co-op, which is a cooperative grocery store featuring health food items and all sorts of expensive stuff and great meat and wine. And in the downtown store, a whole pet department. And it's just a pretty neat thing. Anyway, in September of 2020, I approached the manager of the Meridian Co-op, which is almost at the north end of the village at Meridian, to do an art wall. And there was much kvetching and cavelling about that because they thought it was going to cost thousands of dollars and that it would take hours of time. I said, no, no, it won't. You don't have to do anything. You sell groceries, I'll do art. And it's been extremely successful. And artists are up for 6 weeks at a time. The co-op takes absolutely nothing. No commission at all. So it's strictly a public service. I have some fairly strict rules and regulations because of the fact that this is a grocery store. Nothing political, overtly sexual, or making any political statements. Certainly has to be family friendly. No depiction of the consumption of hard liquor, although if a piece of art happens to show somebody consuming a glass of wine, that is acceptable because the Meridian Co-op sells wine. No depiction of use of drugs, legal or illegal. I mean, it's kind of like Initial Point Gallery. It has to be very clean and very nice. And I will tell you, it's a lot of work putting this together because first of all, finding artists who meet my stipulations of not showing moose and goose art. We have enough, we have enough landscapes and barns and boats and stuff like that. So this is strictly non-representational, expressionist, and I will stretch it if I'm in a really good mood to abstract. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. I didn't realize immediately, but I've definitely been in the Boise Co-op. I just haven't been to the Meridian one. So is this an interior wall then? Okay, cool.
It's over on the left-hand side, over by the coffee area over there.
It sounds like a wonderful project.
It is.
I might add, Lizzie must have been in a really good mood because the work I'm showing is abstract.
You get a couple extra points for being on the commission and knowing you. So, all right, thanks, Lizzie. Number 8, update events and outreach committee. I'll hand it over to Crystal.
All right, so we are busy contacting artists and performers, and we're in process right now. We're on the last steps of having a writer partner with the technology library and coming there during Art Week. And she's excited. She gets paid. She thought it was for free. So Um, And so that's going really well. And then do you want to talk about the people you've reached out to?
I did contact 3 groups about doing improv classes this year. We got 2 of them said they're available to do it. We just need to get confirmation on the space, whether the community center is available in those rooms, and then we can lock that down. I also touched base with some buskers for just to see what's available. I think I contacted 5. I've only heard from 1. There aren't a whole lot of buskers around here. But we'll see what happens as we move forward.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Anything else? All right.
I was in touch with a performer as well, and she's really interested. So that might add to the busker list.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, looking
We-
forward to hearing about it.
Would you like to talk about the panel a little bit?
We're organizing a panel for Art Week. Let me open up my computer so I can get the list of confirmed panelists. We almost had a really exciting panel. These are good panelists, but we almost had a really, really great panelist. But she might be in Washington, DC now, so.
The topic of the panel is, I might not have the title exactly right, but how to create a stellar application. So it'd be geared towards visual artists, and the panelists are sort of in roles where they're looking at a lot of applications or curators. And it's during the lunch hour, Wednesday, I think we said Wednesday.
But September 20th, Wednesday. from
Will be
12
the
to 1.
day after the Initial Point Gallery show that month, or the opening reception that month. And it'll be up in Initial Point Gallery. And while Dia's looking that up, also Martha Channer, who's one of the artists that would be showing next year that applied, was already planning. She had approached Unbound, and she's doing a class at Unbound on Monday of Art Week. I think it's titled Archerpreneur, and it's about how to be a professional in various things and how to make art your career. I'm trying to think if there's lots of stuff happening for the community art party and things. Oh, the Solid Waste Advisory Commission. If you'll remember, they came to the Arts Commission a while back. They're doing a contest. So there'll be a form online for people to apply for recycled art projects. They're going to select 4 projects, and they'll showcase them at the community art party. We'll have the chalk art competition. That form will be up online. And we also created a form for business participation. So if there's businesses out there that are doing things like truffles or Deja Brew and showing work, they can submit that form to us during the community art party. So Saturday, September 16th, 5 to 8 p.m. registration at 4:30.
And so we kind of are unofficially partnering with Solid Waste Advisory Committee. So that's kind of a partner cross-promotional thing that we are doing.
Okay.
The panelists that have been confirmed are Sandra, shoot, I don't have her last name here. Brooks?
Sandra at the Riverside.
She's at Riverside Hotel. Sorry about that. Jody from Sorrell's Place, Bobby, and Nellie from Idaho Art Gallery. So the focus will be on art, it'll be geared towards artists about, how to put their best foot forward, whether it's an application or portfolio presentation. And I think we do have 5 panelists or 4. Wait. 4. but we will try to not ask too many questions and have maybe like 1 or 2 questions for each panelist. So it can be like catered to what their specialization is and, you know, what their role is, because not all of them are curators. So.
Sounds like we've got a full art week. I'm excited. Nice job, everybody. And I do want to note, since we hit 2 of our 3 subcommittees, that the Public Art Subcommittee did not meet last month, right? And we're not meeting again this month either, but as Cassie noted, there's still a lot of stuff going on, so as always. Yeah. Okay, our last item is our inclusivity highlights, so I'll hand it back over to Crystal.
And Madam Chair and Commissioners, sorry, I did forget, we have the Art Week poster already, and just give me a minute for technology, and I'll just want to show that to you.
Okay.
I also have a draft of the poster for the next Initial Point Gallery show, but it's being edited because it needed more information, but that's
Ooh,
coming along. So it'll be available shortly.
cool.
Commissioners, regarding the availability of the poster, if commissioners could be advised probably by email when it's available, because getting these things passed out, which at the moment I really just can't do it, is very, very helpful. Not everybody is required to, you know, take 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever, but just whatever you can do wherever you happen to have coffee or eat or worship or do whatever you do, take a poster. Thank you.
They
Cool,
should
and-
be available tomorrow at some point.
All right. Ooh, and look, it's got a QR code on it already, so. That's fun. So Cassie, is this the same person who did the concerts on Broadway?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So the illustrations should work together fairly well. We're printing a run of these posters. Been working with the poster guy to try to get a good deal. And we'll have this one and the concert poster up mid-August to advertise both events.
I love it. It's fun.
Okay, so can you hear me okay? I will let you know one of my students is watching online. He's going to be a part of this, so he's very excited. All right, perfect, thank you. So I am talking about inclusion in our education today. So I thought, so you could know a little bit more about me. I've been an educator for over 20 years. And I've reached into a variety of communities throughout the Treasure Valley, teaching students from 2 years all the way through adult. I'm the owner of an art education business called Little Palettes and a published illustrator, in case you didn't know. Throughout my teaching career, I have seen where people thrive in creativity when someone sees their passion and potential and feeds into it. On the journey, I have seen how detrimental a negative word can stifle and even stop creativity. Wonderment goes a long way. So, inclusion in art education. Over the years, I have walked the line between an artist and an educator. Sometimes those lines are not as inclusive and welcoming as they should be. I have met many students from all ages who were told that they should not continue in art because they are not good enough, or that they are not an artist. Many of the adults I teach carry the scars of not being good enough. I believe that the arts should be inclusive, especially in education. Not all great works of art are the same, so not all artists should look the same. In this presentation, I want to share with you some of my students and how the arts have impacted their lives and how fostering creativity can unlock opportunities and relationship. So this is Katie. I first met Katie when she was 4 and she's spunky and passionate. She loves to sing and put on theater plays for her playmates. As you can imagine, being 4, Katie hadn't yet bloomed into the fullness of her artistic talents. Katie was passionate and we fed that passion. Both her parents worked a lot. So what we did in our after-school program, they didn't think they could be those parents that could support her and take her to classes. So we created opportunities for her to do theater and we incorporated that into our class. This is Katie today, and she is starting to show some of that potential that we fed into. And she has a lot of support from her surrounding community. This last year, she has been a part of a rock band. She is a part of the School of Rock. She's performed at Kid Fort and received an Outstanding Musician Award at school. Without the support of 4-year-old Katie from the past, she wouldn't be walking out her dreams of being on the stage today. This is Vihan. He's the one watching online. Vihan has taken art classes with me for 7 years. So he started at 3.5. Throughout that time, he has grown to love many art forms and mediums. He does not love watercolor. We're working on it. It's better than it used to be. Currently, we are working on illustrations for a book he wrote. His goal is to publish and be an inspiration to other kids. His family supports his many interests, including programming, engineering, and the arts. It is important to encourage students to work towards their interests. This is Diana. So I met Diana a few years ago. She is a woman full of life and excited to try new things. The arts have always been a great outlet for her. She likes to try different techniques and mediums, from glass art to leatherworking. I have loved coming into her home to create pottery, watercolor, and printmaking. I love her passion for the process and her love for beauty. She's always up for me to come and try out new lessons with her before I teach them in the classroom. As a teacher, having a student with passion and excitement helps make teaching fun. And she's one of those. She was an engineer, but she's always had a heart for the arts. So in conclusion, the arts are made up of people from all walks of life, abilities, and interests, and their passions need to be valued and encouraged. Some have come to the arts as an outlet from the daily stresses that life brings. Some come as children whose passions were encouraged, and some come as supporters because they value the impact it had on them years ago. The arts are a place for people of all abilities, passions, and level of engagement. Most will create something because they enjoy it. Some will create because it is a part of their job. Others will take what they learned and bridge it into other fields, finding creative solutions in the medical field or engineering arenas. But all these people could have been hindered if someone had said, "You're not good enough." Thank you.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Crystal. And hi, Vihan. Glad you joined us today. Awesome. Any thoughts from anyone? Anything anyone wants to add? Bunch. All right. Well, that was great. Thank you, Crystal. Yeah. Okay, our next meeting will be August 10th. And unless we have anything else to discuss, we will take a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I did just want to note, I will be out of town for the next week. I'm going to a painting workshop at Anderson Ranch in Colorado. So I will be unreachable. I'm taking my email off my phone. I'm not going to respond to anything until the following week. So
Awesome. Good.
if you
Well
have
deserved.
anything, Dia will be around.
Okay. Well, have a great time. Enjoy. Don't think about us while you're gone. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
A motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Paulson moves, Commissioner Taylor seconds. All in favor?
I.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for another great meeting. We'll see you next month.